Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Good Cast Show. So today I have a guest, a daughter of a famous guest on this podcast. But today's topic we'll be discussing marriage and relationships from a Muslim perspective. As always, this episode is brought to you by MUZZ, a leading Muslim marriage app from the UK, now in 190 countries with over 13 million users, having inspired over 500,000 marriages, and we are guessing about 1 million babies. So my guest today, her name is Fatimah Tajuddin. So if you recognize her last name, that's the guest that comes on. And we can't wait to hear her opinion on marriage and relationships. She's been married for over 13 years now, and we wish her another 100 more.
Thank you.
She's a mother, and she's going to be a doctor soon as well. Earning her doctorate very soon. We can't wait for that. Wish her all the best with everything. So without further ado, let's get her thoughts on this amazing, mysterious topic, love and marriage. Miss Fatimah Tajuddin, how are you?
I'm good, Vinod. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for doing this. So you belong to first of all, I think everybody wants to know, your father is the famous Professor Tajuddin.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like being his daughter?
Wow, that's a loaded question,
Loaded
Vinod.
question, yeah.
It's great because I get to spend time with him and talk about all kinds of different things. We've been doing this since I was young, so I'm quite used to his talks. So if he asked me to read any of his articles or watch his YouTube, I would say, "No, Dad, we just discussed this in breakfast yesterday." So
Okay.
so it's been great. Alhamdulillah.
Okay, nice. So now let's get into it. Fatima, you're married for over 13 years now.
Yes.
You're a mother, you have family. I mean, how do you juggle everything together with what you do in your academic life and your work life and family? How do you juggle everything?
Okay, I had a lot of help from my family members, especially my family members like my mom, my father, my sister. I think without my family and my husband's family as well, we would not have been able to make it this far, because it's really not easy to juggle everything, especially if you're a woman, if you're a mom and you're working. So everyone needs to help. Yeah,
Definitely. So let's talk about marriage. You belong to, I think, a group of people that's becoming even more endangered.
Really?
Long-lasting marriages, happy marriages, and
I
all that.
see.
Unfortunately, divorce cases are up and all that. But before we get to that, so how did you and your husband meet?
Oh my gosh, this is a funny story. Okay, please bear with me.
I will.
So we actually met when we were in primary school. When I
Oh
was
my goodness.
Yeah, I was 11 years old, and we met in school. I was the assistant monitor, so I was very garang, and we always fought. So, but after primary school, we went to different high schools. And at the time, in the year 2002, if I'm not mistaken, there was this online chatting platform called MIRC.
Yep,
So if
I
you're
knew
a
it.
90s kid, I think you know what I mean.
Yes,
So that's
yes.
where we reconnected. We went into this chat room, and he private messaged me, and we chatted, and he asked, "Oh, you're from Johor, from this school?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he asked, "Oh, do you know this person? This name?" So he mentioned the name, and I was like, "Oh, I know him. Oh, I didn't like him. He was so bad." Blah, blah, blah. I was trash talking him, and then
him.
suddenly he said, "I'm that guy." I'm like, "Oh no!" And then we were best friends ever since.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's after the following year, we decided that we liked each other, and we became an item.
Okay.
Yeah. Until university.
So how long was that before you all got married?
I think it was I did the math just now. I think it was around 9 years, if I'm not
9
mistaken.
years before you guys got married.
Yeah.
So you've been together for 22 years now.
Yes.
My God.
Yes.
Wow. I've known couples who are like this, but of course, there are very few, very few, who meet at school, and then yours is primary school. That's even
Yeah.
worse, right? That's not worse, but that's way longer. Is there a chance? I mean, does it get boring or repetitive by being with the person whom you've known for so long?
That's a great question. I should be bored with him by now, right? But Alhamdulillah, we're okay. Of course, we do have our ups and downs, challenges. But I think maybe because we started off as best friends first. So in communication theory, there's this thing called companionate love. So that's the type of love where we start off as best friends. So that's why I find it very hard to be bored by him or by our daily routines. I think, yeah, there has not been a boring day ever.
Okay,
to be honest, to be completely
That's
honest.
so nice to hear.
Yeah.
So how do you have a marriage for 13 years? What are the things that you guys do to make it last so long for 22 years basically?
Yeah. Okay. It's not all roses. Yeah, we're not.
Of course,
Seriously.
of course.
But perhaps because number one, we were best friends. Number two, we have very good emotional and social support system. Like we are able to express our feelings. Let's say at the moment I cannot express my feelings to him. I need to cool down. So I have my sister who is one of my besties, soul sister, and I get to express with her first, and then we can talk things out more calmly. So Aisha, Aisha, if you're listening, I love you. You are the female version of my husband, so it makes things easier. And we also have, I think, maybe because we've known each other for so long, sometimes we sort of know when we are not in a good mood. But of course, as best friends, we always fight. We do fight. We fight hard, but we also love hard as well. Yeah.
Okay, right. That's sweet.
I think that's appropriate to say, right?
Yes, that is. That is very appropriate. Is it the small things that matter in a marriage?
Yes, it's the small things that matter. The small gestures of, I think the word is love language.
Yes, correct. Love language.
Love language is very important. I don't think we learn about love language in our
School.
In our school, and also what's that thing called? Kursus kahwin.
Yes.
Marriage
Course.
Marriage course.
Yeah.
I remember we don't learn about communication skills or how to resolve conflicts. And conflicts do happen in long-term marriages or in any relationship. So that's the thing. I think communication is key.
Definitely, communication is definitely the key. Yeah. So like in today's world, as I mentioned earlier, divorce is becoming ever more apparent, and it's becoming sort of like the go-to solution for the problem. Do you think that's the way to go?
Divorce.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think to make it more of a structured, more focused approach, we're not talking about abusive couples. We're talking about normal people who are just together, who sometimes have fights here and there. A normal marriage, two people, normal people, good people who just want to be married, but sometimes it ends up in divorce, or they, is that the right way to go for these type of couples? Of course, we're not talking about if you're in an abusive relationship, then please leave. But we're talking about just normal couples.
For normal couples, if we do reach a point of divorce, it means that there is a total communication breakdown. It means that we don't have the love, the feeling of love is not there anymore. So I think it's if that's the final resolution, then it should be done. Okay. However, before we, even if we are considering divorce, even before that, we need to consider at least going to counseling or therapy, or if you're not into that, at least get a trusted family member to allow both sides to talk it out in a safe space. And personally, we have that kind of discussion before, and I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to discuss it in a safe space.
Okay,
so
understand. That definitely helps. Now, I of course, when I see younger people now, getting to the world of love and all that. When I mean younger, I don't mean teenagers, but young adults and all that. They, of course, have their own criteria on how they select a woman, how they select a man, right? What would you advise after being married for so long? What would your advice be to the younger people on what criteria they should employ, especially women, to select a man for themselves?
So how women should select
a man,
guys? I think the first criteria that one should have is, for us Muslims, we should totally look out for their faith. Okay, if they are really good practicing Muslims, okay, that's a green flag. Okay, so that's for Muslims. Personally, for me, I like it when that person is funny, can make you laugh, is very kind, and it's such a bonus if they have, if they are very empathetic.
Okay.
Yeah,
those are the things, right?
And also, I'm also considering the socio-economic situation nowadays. Financial issue is such a one of the biggest factors in relationship conflict and divorce. So make sure you understand each other's financial situation, whether you mampu, what's mampu in English? Mampu, whether you are capable, able to from both sides to sustain a long-term marriage. So that's very important thing to consider.
But the thing about Muslims is you guys do marry young. Right,
Yeah.
you do marry young. So should money be a consideration? Because, like for example, like even your father married while he was still studying. You're not earning anything. So should the earning capacity of the man still be considered in such a point?
Oh, definitely. Because as long as you have stable income, like consistent, stable income, that's a good indicator to know that, okay, we can actually make the marriage successful. It's a good start to have. For example, when we were younger, when my husband finally decided to get married with me, he really had to make sure that he had stable income, like consistent money coming in. Although it's not much, at the time I was doing my master's, so I had my scholarship, and he was doing his chambering. He's a lawyer, by the way, so he had some money from his allowances from the chambering job. And then that's how we decided that, okay, we can actually make it. And then both of our parents are quite supportive as well. So we don't need a lot to start in the first place. So I feel like it's still very, very important. The money aspect is quite
crucial.
Quite crucial.
Any other aspects that are maybe not as crucial but still hold some weight?
Okay, you need to have trust. You need to have the communication trust. You need to be able to be honest with each other, especially when serious issues arise, like, of course, financial situation, and also managing the emotions. I think when two people come together and living together for the first time, it's so hard, actually. Even though I knew him for so long, but once you live together, okay, that's where you really know the guy or the woman. And it's quite hard to navigate that in the first few months. But because you have a solid foundation in that relationship, then you are able to navigate the whole marriage.
Nice. Now let's come back to modern times. Of course, now the prevalence of the online dating scene, marriage scene has all gone up, and of course because MUZZ is one of those apps that basically is an online marriage app, right? What are your thoughts about finding your partner online? Do you think it's the right way?
I think it's one of the best ways at the moment.
Best ways?
I think so,
Okay.
because well, if you think about it, Vinod, many of us are working full time. I think 80% of our time spent is on work, and we don't get a lot of opportunities to have breaks or holidays or meet new people. So, we are confined to our own working environment, and sometimes the people that we see every day is not the one for us. So where else or how else are we gonna go find people? And one of the best ways is online platform. So I think that it's no problem. For me, it's no problem. But the thing is, communication is still key. You need to communicate as honestly as possible, and that's where many of the couples, I think that's their struggle, when they do meet each other online, but after that, what happens? The communication falters, or do you keep the communication going on consistently?
I understand that is true, but of course, one of the biggest criticisms for online dating has been, of course, it's been often used by, I heard a lot of men use it for this reason, as a meat market.
As
a meat market,
meat market.
To find women and for only to hook up or stuff like that. And apparently this also happens across the board.
Yes.
I don't know, because I'm married, I'm out of the scene, so I have no idea. But one of the things that I've always wondered is, Basically, what online apps have done is they have taken the traditional matchmaking way and sort of modernized it and made it into an app, right? But in your opinion, if you were to compare the online way of meeting as opposed to how you did it, I mean, yes, you did meet online, MIRC and all that sort of, but you knew the person, you had already met them first, face to face. Which is better?
Okay. Personally, for me, knowing the person face to face is better.
Okay.
Yes. And the traditional way, the matchmaking, that's the traditional way. I'm not here to say, to deny all of that. I think it's still quite important. But if that doesn't work, then we've got another alternative, another choice, another strategy. So I think it's still, I think it works both ways. Whatever it is, you need to, even if you meet online, you still need to meet face to face. You cannot just not meet face to face. You need to see who you are talking to avoid, being catfished. Okay, that's a real issue.
It does, yeah.
It's dangerous as well.
It is, yeah.
So I remember, if I'm not mistaken, one of my friends, she met her husband on Tinder, but only after meeting 6 other guys face to face, just to see how they vibe, and what they are like. Only after that she met the real deal.
Wow, so she met someone on Tinder and got married.
That's Tinder. Another online platform is Coffee Meets Bagel. That's also another platform, but I feel like MUZZ is quite interesting because it's Islamic based, and hopefully when it's Islamic based, they select the people who can go on, who can participate in that, and they've got several interesting features like Wali mode. I just discovered, oh wow, this is, like you said, taking the traditional matchmaking and making it digitalizing so
it.
Cool. So I think it's quite interesting.
I mean, when I always find this funny, but when I see people looking for their partner, especially in their 20s, and they're looking for a partner, what they want what they think a marriage is never actually is what a marriage is. And you only know once you go into a marriage, then you realize. So you should know this better than anyone. What are some of the myths about marriage that were dispelled after you getting married and being together for so long?
The myths about marriage.
Yeah.
I think before getting married, I thought everything was like a fairy tale ending or something, where we are always happy, we're always together, we always do stuff together. But when you actually get married, it's not necessarily the case. You do need to have your own life, your own identity, and you don't necessarily have to do everything together. I also thought that in marriage, the guy has to always take out the trash. Okay, I was scammed into that. So
you take out the trash now.
Yeah. So this is what we call the issue of gender role expectation. That is another trigger or another conflict factor that is not being talked about before people get married, and you only find out when you do get married. I agree with you. In fact, before I got married, after I got married, I realized nobody tells you what you really need to know to get married. Yeah, nobody does. Yeah, but interesting enough, you talk about gender roles, and I've discussed this on many interviews, preferably. But should gender roles be specific in a household for it to succeed? No, I don't think it should be specific. I think it should be mixed. Sometimes, for example, we always assume that the woman has to do the house chores, have to clean stuff, and the guy don't do that because it's not expected of them. But I think it won't work. It's not sustainable at all because, women, we do get tired if we do the same things all the time. So it's supposed to be a teamwork. I think the narrative of being in a marriage and having teamwork is not discussed enough. I always hear the discourse of gender expectation, role expectation. It's always, men have to do this, women have to do that only. And that's not sustainable. It has to be teamwork, and sometimes you need to fill in for each other when we are not able. For example, I usually make breakfast for my kids before they go to school, get them ready. But today I had a horrible migraine. But even without having to say so, my husband saw that I'm not going to wake up, and he just took on the role of taking care of the children's whatever needs before they go to school. So
yeah, I think the couple must always make the machine run regardless of who's driving. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's nice. How important is peace of mind to a marriage?
Oh, very important. I know peace of mind is not always. Sometimes we assume that once you're married, everything is beautiful, rosy, and you will always have peace of mind. The reality is, the peace of mind always comes after some kind of conflict.
Yes.
And that's okay. Conflict it's good when you hash out all the misunderstood things.
Yes.
And that's how you grow.
Yeah.
And that's when you get the peace of mind. So it's not like a constant state of peace of mind. It's just not realistic, people.
It doesn't exist. Yeah. Interestingly enough, when I spoke to your father about this topic, he said that his generation, basically, when he got married to your mother, just get married and then they make it work. There was no thought about anything. It was just, okay, we're together for life now, that's it. And I think that's the way a lot of the older generation look at marriage, right? You being married now and your friends and all that, what are the differences between the way our generation looks at marriage as opposed to the older ones?
Okay, the older generation, they have their own worldview of how a marriage should work. So I sometimes disagree with this with my dad.
Okay.
Because it's not working out for me if I follow his way. Simply because, Dad, I'm your eldest, so naturally I have some of your personality. So I'm not as patient as my mom. My mom's an angel. She's so patient. Okay. But it means that the generation of women in my generation is changing, because we are out there, we are working, we are also trying our best to juggle family and our career. So it's quite hard for the woman to just suppress everything or just be patient forever and ever. So hard, very hard. And maybe it works for my father's generation or my grandfather's generation, but for our generation and beyond, it doesn't.
Doesn't so much.
We really need to consider having the communication element in learning about how to communicate better.
Okay. Now, do you think that women need men?
Whoa.
No, because I'm just building up from what you said, because women now are not the women of before.
All right.
Yeah, you are working, you have your own income, you can take care of yourself. Do you really need a man in your life?
Everyone needs somebody. We are humans, we are social beings. We cannot exist alone. Otherwise, what's the point of living? And to answer your question, yes, women need men need women. We need each other. We complement each other. Whatever our flaws that we have, we complement that. So, okay, reflecting on my social standing at the moment, yes, I'm working. Yes, I can provide. But I'm not that rich lah. Okay, but for those who are, for those successful women who can provide for themselves, perhaps what we need in a man is not for them to the financial aspect, but we need the man to cater for our emotional needs. We need to be. Sometimes being independent is exhausting. Being strong for so long is very exhausting. So we need. That the guy can function as our safety and security person there, and he needs to function in terms of the emotional aspect. I think that's what many women want, even if they're not working, or even if they're housewives working at home. We want more from our men in that aspect, the emotion aspect.
Interestingly enough, last night I also had another MUZZ interview, and I was talking to this Indian Muslim girl, and she was saying that being a Muslim and dating, finding your match under the Islamic umbrella with different races can be challenging.
Yeah.
Do you think that it would be better to marry your own race, or because in MUZZ, what they have found is that a lot of the Muslim conversations in there, Islam Muslims there, they tend to talk to Muslims from different countries, different sects of Islam, the different belief systems within Islam. So do you think that is the better one, or should you marry the person of your same ilk?
Okay, so I think as a Muslim, we can connect in that sense as a Muslim because we have the same teachings. But in terms of our cultural identity, that's also a crucial factor to consider. But it's not impossible to be married with a person from a different cultural background. I think Islam, if you are Muslim, Islam should connect you even more because we are connected on a spiritual level, and that's even way better. So we can be different in terms of our culture, but still be connected to each other. Because I see this with my sister. She's married to a Yemeni, and they're like, wow, they're meant for each other. So I think it isn't a problem if you really practice the religion. It should connect you on a spiritual level.
Okay. Now let's go to another section of marriage, which is, I think, let's look at the do's and the don'ts.
The do's and the don'ts. Okay.
Right.
Pay attention, people.
Yeah. So I'm just curious because I too have children. You have children as well. How has having children changed your marriage?
Well, how many children do you have?
Two.
I've got 3.
Okay, nice.
So
all girls, boys?
2 boys, 1 girl.
Nice. Mine is 2
I
girls.
think after the girl, my husband changed a lot.
Yes.
It's always like that, is it?
Yeah, girls change.
Oh, thank
Changed
God.
me a lot. Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Children do change the whole dynamic of our relationship. You know, as 2 individuals, we existed as 2 individuals, you know, only thinking about each other, fighting about each other. But now we've got kids involved. It's a whole new level. I think for me personally, my children has been a very positive change for the both of us.
Okay.
Of course, it comes with challenges, like many of our conflicts revolve around children because of course it's exhausting. I love my children to bits, but it is exhausting to raise children.
It is exhausting.
Right.
It is exhausting.
However,
you know, sorry, but it's funny because you say that, and I think we can both relate on this. It is so exhausting sometimes.
It is.
But then at night when I see them sleeping on the bed, I'm like, I don't want any other way.
The fatigue just melts away.
So I don't understand it. Yeah. In fact, like when my firstborn, I cannot remember the tired nights. But now it's just like, I miss those days.
Really?
No, I do, but
Okay,
you know how they grow up.
one.
Yes. Yeah. No, but sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just saying, the children, they are an important factor that binds us, me and my husband. And Alhamdulillah for the children, it is quite tiring but such a rewarding phase in our lives to have these children, and they make us both better parents, better individuals as well, and better people at work too, because we really want to work hard for them, right?
Exactly. You wanna make their lives much better.
Yes.
So but I'm just curious because a lot of people, I don't like, but some people whom I've met, they tell me that when they have children, then the marriage suffers because they don't really spend as much time on the marriage as they do because now you focus children, right?
Okay,
so how do you keep your marriage afloat and fun, if you will, while still having to care for your children and your family?
Okay, the solution is a babysitter, grandparents, aunties, uncles.
You're right though. You're right, absolutely right.
But that's only when the children are, for me personally, no longer breastfeeding. They're bigger. Like I wouldn't want. I couldn't stay away from my children, or I couldn't give away my children if they were still young. I want them close to me. But of course, that's part of being parenthood, I guess. We do suffer for the first 5 years, I think. After that, it gets better, you guys. It does. And thank you so much to our family members, to the babysitters.
Yes,
you make our lives, you make our relationships easier, and you give opportunities for us to reconnect and just be two people again.
Interestingly enough, recently I was at a wedding and someone said in a speech to advise the couple, they said, never ever let the sun set on your arguments.
Oh.
Do you think arguments between a couple should be resolved on the same day as fast as possible, or should you think you should take time off and then attend to them later on?
Okay, I think both are correct. It depends on your personality. For me, I'm an extrovert, highly anxious. I want to settle the conflict today. But my husband is not like that. He's very calm. He's a classic introvert. I think that's why I love him a lot, because he's quite calm. He thinks things through. Whilst for me, I put my emotions first, and I'm okay with that. Okay, I accept that. But sometimes it works. I don't want things to. I don't want us to not talk for so long. For us in Islam, 3 days is max. Like, you should try to talk again after not more than 3 days.
Well, you mean they have that rule there?
Yeah, but it's not like wajib or compulsory.
Okay.
But it's one of our guiding principles. That's right.
Okay.
But we're not always perfect. Like, we don't necessarily follow that. For me, I want to settle it immediately, as soon as possible. But sometimes it doesn't work like that. So it's good for both of us to just cool things down, and we can still work our way through, because we live together, right?
Yeah.
So we gotta talk
you have to see each other tomorrow. Yes, you can't run away. Yeah, but another key point about marriage, especially at home, that I feel should be addressed is that couples who stay long, is what I noticed, and have a happy marriage, right? Of course, every couple has ups and downs. They tend to do things. They tend to build memories together.
Yes.
But which I feel now is a bit tougher to do, because we are so in the me generation. We are so involved in our work, in our daily lives, that we forget to build memories together, right? So how do you go about this?
Okay, this is a tough one. This is a tough one.
Okay.
I consciously put in the effort, and I always try to find things to do together as a family. Same with my husband. But sometimes we do get tired. We get exhausted from our work. I think for my husband, he's more tired because he's working as a lawyer. It's exhausting for him. I see it. I see it in his face, in his body language. He's exhausted. It doesn't mean that he doesn't want to build family memories together, but we try our best to agree on a family on an outing together. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can just be a picnic, or going for jogging together, going for badminton. We check our energy level first. Okay, are we up for this? If you're not up for it, okay, it's all right. Okay, don't fight about it. But during our earlier years in marriage, I do fight about it, because I'm like, I'm excited to do things together, whereas he prefers to be at home more. So
He sounds like me.
Oh.
I'm more of a home person.
yeah. And I'm trying to respect his needs. So we try to just think about simple programs or events that we can do together as a family, and we go for it.
Okay.
But sometimes I do stuff with my kids, and he stays at home because he says he's tired, and all right, I accept that. So whatever that I can do, or whatever that he can do to build those memories, we do it. So sometimes it's me with the kids without the dad. Sometimes it's dad with the kids without me. So it's okay. As long as the kids get one of us, and sometimes both of us, I think it's quite good.
I mean, you sound like you have a very nice relationship, which I think everybody wants for themselves as well. And it's very nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But you were with your husband for a time period, and then you got married. 9 years, then 13 years, right? When did you know that he was the one you wanted to marry?
I knew Alamak, this is cheesy, or jiwang as we say.
Yeah.
I knew it when we when the first time I met him when I was 16, when we were friends, 15, I really liked him. I felt like I knew him for a very long time already. But when the moment that I knew that he would be the father of my kids is, it was quite, for me, I think it was quite natural for me to have a vision of him and me having a family together. So that was, I think, in 2010. So we decided.
Come on, something must have happened.
Something must. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Okay.
So it wasn't a hard decision for me at all.
Yeah, as they say, getting married should be the simplest choice in your life, the easiest choice in your life, right? Otherwise, you shouldn't do it. So, if you at your level, when you look at the younger girls in the dating world and all that, do you think that you need to get to know someone? And I ask you this question because I've had 2 separate interviews on the MUZZ series. One of them was a lady who told me that she gets married to the guy immediately.
Ooh.
So she really follows that dating is haram, and all that kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
And then there are, of course, other women have come on and said, no, we need to get to know the person and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, do you think that you should get to know the person first before you take the plunge?
I think, of course, we should get to know the person
But
first.
of course, not. I'm talking like in a sense like there must be courtship, there must be time. It's not like just after one meeting. Do you think?
No, definitely not after one meeting. That's like
Too much,
that's a recipe for a disaster. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yes, you should know each other. Even let's say I know some of us Muslims, we don't do the courtship thing. Okay, for example, I think my mother-in-law, she shared with me that they had this matchmaking thing and they had to write an essay. Both of them had to write an essay, but I forgot the content, but something, life goals, Islamic goals or something. And she get to choose, which essay is like the most, the best. So it's also a form of understanding the person's goals and worldviews. So that's a form of, understanding that person. But she never got on into any dates or courtship. And they have been married for 40-something years. Yeah,
wow.
So it's still successful. That's the traditional Islamic matchmaking strategy.
Okay, interesting. In your opinion, I mean, you have said that the roles in a household should be mixed. It shouldn't be specific. It should be separated, right? But do you think that the modern interpretation of gender roles are also a contributing factor to why marriage has become so difficult nowadays? Like with the woke culture, feminism and all that.
Oh, I think yes. Because all of these discourses, if you will, they have a certain narrative that they want to advocate for. And I think that kind of narrative separates. It's a separatist narrative. And that's not how marriage should be, or gender role expectation should be. Okay? So whatever it is, like you said, we need to make the machine work. So definitely there needs to be a combination, not separating the roles at all.
Okay. And what's your thought on the current woke culture movement then?
The woke culture, something like if you go on a date, then each of you have to pay.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, like gender identities are fluid. Your roles are fluid.
Yeah.
It's also muddled in together with a bit of feminism and all that. So, like, to me personally, I feel like these notions have really eroded human social connection, and all that. It has eroded our social fabric. And I feel that this is why there are marriages that we are seeing that have failed and all, because people are just so confused. Like, for example, in my household, it's like I tell my wife, I'm a bit of an old school guy. So for me, gender roles must be like, I know as a man, I must provide, I must protect, I must, right? But nowadays, no, it's even wrong to say that, because a woman can do it and all that nonsense. So what do you think about that?
Okay, in terms for us Muslims, it is the man's role to to protect and to provide. And they have a major responsibility to care for the woman in the family. Not just his wife, but he also has to take care of his siblings. So men actually have a bigger role, but it comes with a huge responsibility. So that's the first thing that men should understand and women should understand as well. In terms of, so for us it's quite clear cut, like the man has to provide, but it's also quite flexible. If the woman wants to contribute, she gets reward, she gets like pahala. If she wants to help to contribute to the family, help the husband, it's a reward for her. But it is not her major or compulsory. It's not compulsory for her to financially provide, actually. So that's for us, it's quite clear. But again, looking at the financial situations that one is in, you have to, that's where the communication thing comes in lah. You need to really discuss with each other about your financial standings, in terms of household chores. So, because we are not living in the olden times. Now both are working, both are tired. So how can we solve this thing? For me personally, the solution was to get a part-time maid. After that, no more conflict about household chores. Oh my goodness. So that, but I understand that is something that not everyone can afford. So, but it is something to consider.
I will definitely do that, because I think that's such a big thing. Right? Now, I want to just touch on this briefly, because we discussed about it, and I want to get your thoughts. And we were sort of jokingly talking about it. So we are seeing now among the Malay community a lot of high-profile divorces.
Okay,
right?
high-profile. Let's not name names.
Let's not name names. Okay, fine. I was just about to. But the recent one, which is very high-profile, even I know about it, not being so participative in the Malay community. I know about it. So, what's the impact of these celebrities being so public about their divorce on the general public? Because would it distort somebody's view on marriage and maybe stay away? Well, I mean, what's your thought?
I agree with you. It could be a negative representation of what marriage is, but I feel like it's also a learning point for society as well. And I can easily see that their main issue is communicating their expectations, actually. And also, you know, I don't know, maybe it's popularity thing, I'm not sure, but one of our Islamic leaders have talked about this, and they said that it's not good to air out all these issues in public. Is really not good. Some celebrities are quite, they're not so open about it, and to me, I think that's the most graceful way to, not share about what's going on in your family household to the media. Like, why do you guys do that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
One of my a member of my in-law side told me once, right before I married my wife, she said that one advice she had for me was matters between the husband and wife must always be kept between the husband and wife. It cannot go out of that.
Similar.
Do you believe that? Yeah, you believe that?
Similar to our culture as well.
What do you think is the immediate result of people sharing this stuff out there about their own relationship to outsiders?
The immediate effect. I think the immediate effect would be people having a negative view of marriage, people having negative views of these individuals involved, and unnecessarily participating in gossip.
Yeah, definitely. So pillow talk,
Yeah. I feel like we should be allowed to express our concerns, but not to the public. Maybe with trusted family members or friends, that we can express our concerns. I know that in both of our culture, matters of the husband and wife should only be kept together. But sometimes I think if it's a really serious matter, I think we should be allowed to talk about it with our family members to get to get support and some kind of reconciliation process going on, because like I mentioned, a successful marriage cannot exist on its own. It takes a community, it takes a whole village to help the couple out, to help the whole family. So, but it really depends on who you choose to express yourself to, okay, and get help from them. Either a trusted family member or you go for a counseling therapy session, marriage therapy.
What is your thoughts on the saying that you don't just marry the person, you marry their family?
I think it happens. I think it's true, but we still need to have certain boundaries. And we are Asian culture, collectivistic culture, so it's not like an alien thing for us to get our families involved so much. I think it's a good thing if the collective is a positive support system. But if they are toxic, the couple should remove themselves for the time being, not to get involved, not to let them get involved in your issues.
Now, because we are talking, like I said, this is about matchmaking as well. So for a woman who's in the app world, using MUZZ to find her partner, do you have any advice on red flags that she should be aware of?
Red flags. Okay. All right. Red flag number one: if that guy exhibits violent behavior, like
like fierce,
angry all the time. For a guy to be so extremely emotional, red flag. Of course, humans are emotional, but if the emotion is about them, about their needs only, if that's a red flag. So the guy, your partner, you should always look for that person who puts you first, not their needs first. It's kind of selfish.
Okay, that's the only red flag that you have.
Okay, online, right? Yeah, online. Another one. Look at the consistency of the communication. The frequency and the consistency. The frequency, do you always communicate with each other? If not, like for example, let's say today you text a lot or call, and then the following days there's no message. I feel like we have WhatsApp, so easy in our hands, but you don't text your person. Is strange. That's a red flag. And I noticed that's a pattern that you should consider. Communicating, always communicating is a green flag, okay? Not communicating all the time is a red flag.
Definitely.
Because we don't meet face to face, so we rely on our text, on our verbal communication. We cannot see the non-verbal communication, so that's why communication is, again, key. Sorry if I'm repeating this point all the time. Communication is key.
No, not just you. I mean, I had a she's a Sharia lawyer.
Oh.
And she deals with divorce cases and she told me communication is key.
God.
That's the deal. Okay, let's end it with this.
All right.
You being a lady yourself, I need you to snitch on your community and tell us what red flags should men be wary of when dealing with women. Tell us.
I need to think about this.
Yeah, share the secrets.
What men should look for?
Yeah. No, like what red flags men should look out for when it comes to meeting women.
Okay.
All right.
If she's super materialistic, run away, guys. Just go. Okay. Because if you are super rich, then it's fine. Okay, but if you're not like super rich, okay, reconsider your goals. Okay. Another red flag would be I think it's, the same thing as well, like being selfish, always thinking about her needs all the time, not considering, not willing to consider, unreasonable, or that's a red flag as well. Okay, and that's very hard coming from me as a woman. But if I can be honest, those are the two things lah. Being overtly materialistic, unwilling to consider each other's perspectives, being selfish. Okay, another one maybe, what? I think we're good.
Very good too. There we go. Now, lastly, I just want to get your thoughts on this. There is culturally, there is a stigma associated to women using online apps.
Oh,
there is.
Like it's a bad thing?
Like it's a bad thing, right? I mean, I guess men and women, because online apps sort of have that stigma of being hookup centers, stuff like that, right? Despite no matter what MUZZ does, even they can't run away from this because it's an industry thing. It's not an app thing, right? So I just want to get your thoughts. Like, what do you think? Should people be concerned about that stigma?
Yes, I think we should be concerned because there are weird people always trying to find opportunities to be weird to other people, okay, to be violent and dangerous. So that's, I think, something that online dating apps should consider, even MUZZ app. I think MUZZ app is doing a great job of filtering out all these weirdos, okay? So if they can figure out the safety issue thing, I think online dating app should not be a problem.
Okay.
So again, we also don't learn about the etiquettes of online communication. Actually, we don't even learn about communicating face to face. Unless you are a communication major, then you will learn for sure. But that's the thing. I feel like we still need to be careful, of course, with the type of social dating app that we have. But if the foundation, the values of the app is positive, it's something good, then it should be okay.
Nice. Thank you so much for your time,
You're
Fatimah, and coming on the podcast.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, and I hope you've had a good time.
Yes.
I enjoyed talking to you. I hope we have you on
too.
again. Yes, next time maybe we can do like a father-daughter session, I think. Yeah.
What?
On Father's Day maybe. Yeah. But thank you so much. So that's all for you guys. Again, it was such a pleasure having Fatimah here, sharing all her insights on marriage and love and romance and relationships. And as always, if you guys please like, share, subscribe and comment. We can't wait to see what you have to say. And don't forget, download MUZZ. Thank you. Bye.